So, but anyway, when I was 17, I guess this is the place to start because it's where it all started. When I was 17, my mother died of cancer. And that's kind of a rough time in a kid's life, you know? And I really needed to understand what happens after somebody dies. Very close to my mother. My mother was the person that, we're Canadians, you know, people drink and smoke and everything else there. She never did anything like that. She never, from the time she was 3 years old, she decided she was never going to eat meat. So she was always a vegetarian. And I didn't understand why God had taken her. So anyway, I started really sincerely searching through all kinds of different, all kinds of religions and philosophies. I grew up as a Christian, but anyway, long story short. So one day I finally just left home and said, I'm going to go until I find God. I'm just going to start walking and just go till I find God. So there I was for 2 hours in Vancouver, Canada, wandering the streets, and then on the corner of Georgia and Granville. Anybody's ever been to Vancouver, you'll know that. That corner, famous corner. So on the corner of Georgia and Granville, one fellow with a bald head, with a ponytail and an orange skirt, he stopped me and he said, "Would you like some incense, little lady?" And I said, "No, I'm looking for God." And he said, "Well, you found him." And he whipped out a Bhagavad Gita and he showed me a picture of Krishna with his arm around the calf, you know, and he said, "God is a blue boy with a flute." I said, "Man, you're crazy." I said, "I've been through many different religions and philosophies, and nobody's told me God is a blue boy with a flute." So he was quite new and he looked a little perplexed and he singing. I don't think they let you do that quite as much anymore, but we just took over the airport completely. The Dungas, cartels, everything. Maybe someone had a small harmonium. We really went for it. And then his plane arrived, and oh, we were so excited, and everyone was pushing closer. And then where they were coming out from, there was a wall in between us and the arriving passengers. You could just see a vague shadow past the wall. And if you were, and it was closed at the, I mean, open at the top. So what happened was, if somebody was really tall, you could see like there was somebody going by in a Texan hat, you know, one of those cowboy hats. And then a tall lady with a lot of flowers in her hat and things like that. And then every time we'd see a shadow come, we think, is that Prabhupada? And we were pushing closer and closer. And then I felt somebody pushing against me, coming closer. And I thought, I'm just at the back of the crowd. That's me. I'm just, I'm not really up front here making stories and stuff. But anyway, so I was at the back and I thought, who's that? So I turned around and it was two businessmen dressed, normal business suits. Maybe they were like 25 to 30, briefcases, the whole bit. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And they were, probably thought, is it the Beatles coming or who's coming? We were all there with this huge crowd and kirtan and everything else. And then we looked up and there was Adanda waving at the top. Pink or green or any other color, chartreuse, whatever. Why the sky is blue? So much so it became just really important to me. My father bought encyclopedias. We looked it up. I'd ask all my teachers. Nobody ever gave me a satisfactory answer. And so finally, my father, I was still so absorbed in it as a teenager that he took me to the Dominion Observatory in Canada, where the top scientists, astronomers look through these gigantic telescopes. We went to that room. They like the whole room was a telescope practically. Ask them. They didn't know either. Nobody knows anything. They didn't know. They were like, it's something to do with the atmospheric pressure. Well, honestly, we don't know. Anyway, forward again, we're back, and Prabhupada, we brought him back to Los Angeles, and we're there coming the first morning program with Srila Prabhupada. We're in the temple room, we're sitting up looking at Srila Prabhupada, and I looked away for just a moment. You get a little distracted, somebody moved or something, and I looked back, and Prabhupada was saying, and the reason the sky is blue, I was shocked. Yes. My ears were like, yeah. He said, it's the reflection of the color of Krishna's skin. It's very weathered. It's a reflection of the color of Krishna's skin. That's why the sky is blue. And at that moment, I just surrendered. I said, I'm never leaving. And I never have. And I'm always going to be here, I hope. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada just knew everything. And we heard him every time he would speak, he would talk about so many different things. I've heard him give whole lectures on engineering. You know, he knew how to build a temple or build a building or the problems with it, whatever, or speak on any subject on the planet and always Krishnaize it also. But he was so amazing. So amazing. One time, okay, you must have seen videos, some of you anyway, where Srila Prabhupada would be given a plate, a nice silver tray of cookies, and he would give them out to the children. I used to make the cookies in Los Angeles. That was my main, not my main service. I had many services, but that was my dearest service. I would make those cookies for Prabhupada to give out to the children. So one time, we were called into an Isti in the evening. This is Los Angeles. And we were told that Prabhupada was in Hawaii and he was really ill. He was really ill and the climate was not good for him at all. And he was flying that night to Los Angeles. Nobody should go to the airport to greet him. I mean, just, one car was going. Nobody should, try and see him in the temple. He's just here to rest. Nobody, like a big deal about it, Nobody must try to see Prabhupada. Nobody must, like if your children come to the temple, mix really quietly, the whole thing. So are there any questions? So I raised my hand. Yes, Mataji. Should I make the cookies for Srila Prabhupada? Stupid woman. Stupid woman. I just told everybody for half an hour how sick Prabhupada is, and she thinks he's going to give cookies to the children. Oh my God, it felt like this big. So I went home and I was crying and crying and crying. And my husband said, service is absolute. So you make the cookies, that's your service. You make them and you bring them to the temple, and just as you usually do. And later on, you can offer them to a picture of Srila Prabhupada and we'll give them out to the kids in the playground. Okay, that makes sense. That made me feel better. Okay, went to Mangalarti, came back, made the cookies. Everything was ready. Okay, so I brought them to the temple and we all were very quiet and we were all waiting very, very quietly for the curtains to open. And suddenly the doorway, if you've ever been to LA, there's the deities and then Prophet's doorway. The door opened from Prophet's quarters and Prophet came out. Well, he was practically held on each side by two. Tulsi Das was one of them, and I can't remember who the other one was.
Karundar?
Maybe Karundar. Yes, thank you. Yes, he was brought out like that and practically dragged because he had insisted on coming to see the deities. He'd arrived in the middle of the night. So they laid him down in front of Kornitai, Shishri Kornitai, and he stood up with the big belt, and paid his whatever he was saying, his prayers. And again, they did the same with the Rukmini Dwarkadish, and again with Jagannath, and then it was to go out his door. He said, no, there must be Guru Puja. So they took him over to his Vyasasan and helped him up several steps up. And we had a Guru Puja. Very quiet, very peaceful, very nice. And then they went to pull Prabhupada down from his Vyasasan. He said, no, there must be class. So they gave him a microphone and he gave a class, but so quiet that we had to really, really listen, because even with the microphone, he was so weak you could hardly hear him. And then finally it was over. They went to get him down and Prabhupada said, no, where are the cookies? The children are waiting for their cookies. And that devotee said, yes. And I said, I have the cookies. Oh, so wonderful. Anyway, so all the children got their cookies. And at the end, Prabhupada seemed to get energy from that. And at the end, there was still some bits on the plate and he's crushed them up.
And by this time, everyone was just shouting and dancing, and he just threw them all out to the brahmacharis that were like catching bits of cookies in the air. That was so wonderful. Then it came time for initiation. And I thought, okay, my name was Rhonda, so it starts with an R. So probably he's going to give me something like Rukmini or Radharani, because I don't think there's anybody else with an R. I mean, I don't know. You know, we'd never been to India. We didn't know any of these names. Krishna book wasn't really out yet. And anyway, so when I went to get my beads, and he said, "Your name is Rachi Tamra." And my first thought was, who is that? But it's like he read my mind. And he said, they pulled the beads back. And he said, this is the name, Rachi Tamra is the name of Radharani. It means she wears the beautifully colored garments. And I thought, oh, Prabhupada noticed. In those days, I used to love bright silk saris, all nicely colored. I said, oh, he noticed. And he said, and you are Rachi Tamra Dawsey. Handed me the beads. I wear white with a border. Anyway, so that was that. With the cookies, there's more cookie stories. Okay, so one time I said to my little daughter, okay, I think, you know, in those days, the cookies, we only had one cookie ever. It was just a Prabhupada's recipe, actually. They were called Prabhupada cookies, and they were just sugar, white flour, and butter. They were really yummy. Anyway, they didn't fly now, but anyway. So and I just had to use the top of a glass or something, one round cookie cutter. Oh, I had two. I had one that made him look like a little flower. And I said to my daughter one day, let's go shopping and find another cookie cutter for Prabhupada's cookies. And she said, okay. She was like two or three. Off we went on our big adventure. We never went shopping or anything. Off we went. So we found a cow cookie cutter. Oh, how wonderful. I said, Prabhupada's going to think of the cows in Vrindavan. Really new. Anyway, off we went. And we got this cow cookie cutter. And I said, I'm not even going to wait for the morning. I'm going to make a batch of cookies right now and bring them to Prabhupada. Thank God I did that. Anyhow, so we made up a batch of cookies, and with icing, we made little coats, little jackets on them, you know, little blankets, and you know, decorated their hooves, and they were really sweet. And I took them up to Prabhupada's room, and I asked his servant, "Can you take these into Srila Prabhupada?" And he said, "Sure, Mataji, you didn't say anything wrong." 1 minute later, he came out with the plate of cookies, and I said, "Oh, Prabhupada didn't want them." He only said one thing. He said, they think I will eat the cow. So we threw the cow cookie cutter away. That was that. It didn't last very long. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you have your hand up. You want to add something?
No, I was sorry.
No. Anyway, somehow or other, I became a pujari. And I loved that for a few years. I would dress the deities. I would, first of all, before I even got second initiation, I would be up very early, cleaning all the pujari rooms. I loved it. Like you. That's why I say that about you. I loved it. And I would always, you know, fix everything for them. And then I was going on the altar and got Brahmana, and I was, oh yes, I used to go and wake them up every morning. I would make their Mangalarti play and wake them up, go in and wait till just the clock had just hit exactly that moment. And then I'd knock on the door, and I'd go in, teach, and saying all the right things. And always there would be a big rat on Lord Balaram's Jagannath's altar. There were 3 big altars. Big rat. Freaked me out completely. Every day I would think it's not going to be here today. And then it would disappear, and I'd like, you know, saying my prayers and screaming and everything else. And then there was a vent or something on that end. I'd come in from Morningtime side and there was a over vent or something and it would just shoot out there. Anyway, and the temple guard would hear me every day screaming in there.
Eating Balaram garlic.
But yes, he would always eat Balaram's garland. That was it. He never touched anything else. And there was, his garland would often be in shreds. And it got to be really much so. The next time Prabhupada came, the guard and I went to Srila Prabhupada and said, what to do in the temple present. We three went to see Prabhupada and said, you know, this rat is always there and it's not nice on the altar. It's always eating the garland. They let them on overnight. Prabhupada said, he said, don't worry about the rat. He is my former disciple. Be good, everybody. Yeah, that's what he said. And I never saw the rat again. He never came. I don't know what happened, but he never came again. Prabhupada took care of him. So anyway, that was the backstory. I used to go in and clean Prabhupada's quarters. I mean, well, I always clean Prabhupada's quarters. Yes. Wherever I went in the world, there were Prabhupada's quarters, including my quarters. I always cleaned them when he was on his morning walk. But in any case, sorry, should I stop?
Oh, keep going.
Okay. Anyway, so this time I was on my hands and knees watching the garland room floor in the Pujari rooms. And suddenly I felt something and I looked up and there was Prabhupada standing in the doorway. This is 2:00 in the morning. And Prabhupada was standing there and I jumped up. Oh, I paid my obeisances and I jumped up. Oh, Srila Prabhupada, got to say what we always want to say. How can I serve you? And he said, got to say it really nice. Then he said, honestly, he looked like a little kid that was got a knife and was trying to, you know, he was honestly, like this Prabhupada looked just so innocent and like a child or something. He said, I'm looking for Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And I said, I'll get him for you, Prabhupada. And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, everybody's here and I know where the sannyasis are staying. You go down the hall, through the kitchen, turn to your right. All the sannyasis are sleeping there. I'll just run down and I'll go over all of them until I find Tamal Krishna Maharaj. You want to serve Prabhupada. You asked him, how do I serve you? Okay, he's telling you. And just then I heard bam, 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 bam down the stairs. Prabhupada's servant going, Prabhupada's missing. Where's Prabhupada? I said, he's here. And I said, he's looking for Tamal Krishna Maharaj. I'm going to get it. And he said, I'll go. And I thought, that is such a better idea. So he went tearing down the corridor to find him. And Prabhupada said, thank you very much. And off he went upstairs again. Meanwhile, a few minutes later, the servant came back down the hall. He had just spoken to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who I'm guessing was having a really fast shower or something. Anyway, and he just came down the hall. Oh, just before that. No, just before that. Yes.
Yeah.
I was still standing there dumbfounded that I just had this exchange. And then two ladies came down the hall. That was it. Two ladies came down the hall and they were dressed in traveling clothes. They weren't in saris or anything. They were dressed, traveling clothes. And they were obviously heading to Prabhupada's room because there was nothing else. There's nowhere else to go there. And so I'm, all protective of Prabhupada, and I stepped out into the hall and I said, excuse me, can I help you? And they said, well, we always see Srila Prabhupada when we first come, when we first arrive. And I said, I just was about to say, I'm sorry, and just then down the hall comes the servant going, Jamuna! I paid my obeisance again. I didn't know, never met her. Oh my God, what a night. This is still like 2:15 in the morning. Anyway, they went off upstairs and I went back to cleaning the floor. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the next morning, I was there on the altar dressing the small Radha Krishna deity, small mini Dwarkanath, or Kadisha Dwarkanath with the little ones. And I was just like 2 steps down. We used to sit on the floor with the deities on the step. And Jamuna walked in. And I thought, oh no, what you gonna say? What you gonna think of me? What you gonna do? She sat down beside me with her little deities and she said, you want me to show you how to make turbans? yeah, that would be great. And we were like really good friends after that. It was so nice. Okay. Another day, I was in that same Pujari room. A lot happened in there. Anyway, I was in that same Pujari room and it was afternoon and Srila Prabhupada was out in his garden. Because you go from the temple room or down Prabhupada's stairs through that, oh, there was a little bathroom there. Oh, thank God, there was a little bathroom. Of course, we didn't use the bathroom because it was an old church and it was just there from then and it was the Pujari area. Anyway, you go through this room, Pujari room, and out, and then you were outside in the garden. Srila Prabhupada was there with all the sannyasis and he suddenly walked in, again, paid my obeisances, and Prabhupada walked past me and went in to open the door to go into the little bathroom there. And I thought, I have to tell Prabhupada we don't use that bathroom. This is the Pujari area. The Prabhupada knows that. Well, and who am I to tell Prabhupada anything? And the door's closing, and I thought, oh, we don't use it because it would contaminate the area. Oh, well, Prabhupada can contaminate anything. My mind was like warp speed, trying to think what to do. And I'm the only one. There's nobody else around. Click. Okay, he was in there. And then one moment later, he came out just really boiling angry, really angry. And there's nobody around but me to shout at. So, I got the mercy. Anyway, so he started shouting. He goes, this is really, really unclean to go and pass water and not have soap afterwards. Where's the soap? We don't use that bathroom. I didn't even say that. I just thought it. I'm really sorry, Srila Prabhupada. Paid my obeisances. He went back out into the garden. I raced across the road to where we had a shop called the Sarabi shop. With all kinds of things, So I bought up every bar of sandalwood soap they had in the place. Ran back, made sure that a bar of soap was in there, ran up to Srila Prabhupada's quarters, which I used to look after, so therefore I kind of knew my way around. And I went in and I stacked them very neatly in Prabhupada's supply room. And I was just coming out of the supply room after making sure that his bathroom had a new bar of soap too. But just coming out of the supply room and Prabhupada came up the stairs with all the sannyasis behind him. Early days where everybody had a stick. Everybody had a danda. Oh, I didn't know you were there. Anyway, everybody had a danda. So it was like a forest of saffron sticks. And so I got to get up for this one. I'm just going to have to watch.
I was gonna say, you have to get up for this.
Okay, so Srila Prabhupada wanted to go into his bathroom. I was in the way. So Prabhupada moved. I'm in the way again. Back and forth. We went back and forth. So, and I looked up at the sannyasis and they were like, oh. I thought, my God, give me some idea. What to do? I finally just hit the dirt. I paid my obeisances and I stayed down till all the feet were gone. There was that one. Anyway.
Prabhupada was playing with you.
I know, he was playing with me and I really felt that it was because he yelled at me earlier, so he was showing me, it's okay, we're just gonna.
I want to try what you are saying when you told that story.
Oh, okay, so some years later, actually, I was in England at the London Radha Londonishvara Temple, and it was Prabhupada's appearance. And Jayadvaita Swami was giving the lecture, and he was telling the pastimes and everything, and he said, Raji Tambra, I just happened to be there. He said, Raji Tambra, come up here. I'm like, no, that's not me. Anyway, to get up here, I'm like, okay, sannyasi tells you what to do. So I went and I sat beside him and he said, tell the story about the bathroom incident. And I'm like, really? Okay. And so I told that story and he said, and tell them the sequel. What happened the next morning? I go, I don't know what happened the next morning. He goes, you don't? I said, no. I said, the entire Bhagavatam class was all about cleanliness, the importance of using soap and that sort of thing. So it was a big impression anyway. Oh my gosh. Okay. So then moving on. Okay, so then, I think that's sort of LA. Okay, so then my husband, who is an engineer who had been working, he made the first chakra in the whole of, United States or the West. And he made that, and we went to meet Prabhupada another time that he was coming. He just finished that. It was on top of the LA temple, still there. And it was a really big one. It was made in our living room, interestingly enough. Anyway, and it was all gold leafed and everything. And so then we went to greet him at the airport, and we were all coming home, and our car was passing his car. Ramananda was in the car with Srila Prabhupada, and he from there, that point, you could see the chakra above all the buildings. And he pointed to the chakra, showing Prabhupada, and then he pointed over at my husband as we were driving by. And Prabhupada turned to me like that, like, thank you very much, kind of thing. Anyway, so that was really nice. Then one day, my husband came in and he said, Prabhupada asked me to come to see him in his room. I went, uh-oh. You done something? He goes, I don't think so. Anyway, so he went to see him, and when he came back, he said, Srila Prabhupada was like a child. He was so excited. You ever seen those pictures when he makes those big, big eyes? He was like that, so excited with these big eyes. And he said, as you all know, he started it all with a little storefront in New York City, and he always wanted a big building. He said, I just got the news that we just bought a temple. We bought a big building in New York City. It's 13 stories tall. It's a whole block wide. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And he was just so excited. He said, okay, it all has to be replumbed. The plumbing it was an old nursing home. So all the plumbing in the whole 13 stories, block wide, has to be changed. All the electricity is just shot, has to be changed. We have to take out the old meat eating kitchen and put in, all nice kitchen, and we have to make a temple room and bring it. So much to do. And, and Prabhupada's quarters on the top and everything else. Huge job. How long will it take, Prabhupada asked? That's what I want to know. How long will it take you to make this into a temple? So my husband was thinking, plumbing, and he told me, he said, I just literally opened my mouth to say about a year, Srila Prabhupada. Just before he could get that out, Prabhupada said, again, childlike, I'm scheduled to be in New York in 6 weeks. Yes, Srila Prabhupada. He came home, he just said one word, pack. Said, we're moving to New York in the morning, 5 o'clock plane. Okay. That's what it was, So off we went to New York. The place was just kind of a shambles. We all moved in. Anyway, long story short, I don't really remember sleeping in those 6 weeks. I guess we took naps here and there. We were always painting. Radhika was about 2,
I was 3.
3, just barely 3. And we had her painting baseboards because that's what she could reach, maybe a tiny bit up the wall. I was painting above. Kids were all over the place, so I started a little nursery there. And I actually asked the temple president, I said, can I do something with the children? Can I have a room, because the parents are all busy. I'm trying to run a super marathon to get the temple ready. And he said, yes, take such and such a room. He said, just put them in the basement. I don't care. That's what he said. I said, give me a room. So he gave me a room. And I got some paints here and there. And we painted a big rainbow up one wall, across the top, down the bottom, and all behind it, all nice, scenes like not mountains, but hills and flowers and things. Anyway, it was really fun with the kids there, and that was nice. All the early children, Anyway, we were there trying to get this thing done. We did get it done
In 6 weeks.
in 6 weeks. It's one of those, Prabhupada wanted it, so it happened. It was very amazing. So then Prabhupada literally arrived in 6 weeks. His car was pulling up. Everybody was in 2 lines, to the doorway, the walkway, and I was looking there and I was seeing everybody had gifts and everything, but Prabhupada got out of his car and all he did was just look up. He just looked up. And he just kept looking. He didn't look at the devotees, he didn't look at anything, he was just looking straight ahead at this temple. And he just kept walking, but really slowly. That's the time, I'm sure you've all heard that Prabhupada didn't really touch the ground quite often. He just sort of floated along. And that time I personally saw that. He just floated. And he was just floating along, and devotees all had something for him. Somebody had knitted a scarf for him, someone had flowers, somebody had, I don't know what, and they were giving him, and then he would get all filled up with these things and hand them to his servant and more. And then I saw my husband coming out from the last minute decorations or something, and he saw this. Everyone's giving him something, and he thought, I don't have anything to give. So he went back in, and all the flowers had been used for decoration for the deities. And there was one broken rose that nobody had used, all black around the edges, the bent part. So he grabbed that and he ran out, and Prabhupada was moving so slowly and just never looked away from the building. And then he came to my husband. Meanwhile, my husband, I was watching him all the time, and he told me afterwards, but meanwhile, he had this old rose, and he saw, I can't give this to Prabhupada. And he just put it behind his back as Prabhupada was getting closer. And then Prabhupada stopped. For the first time, he stopped right beside my husband, and he put his hand out. Still not looking, still at the building. My husband like, I can't do this. And then Prabhupada went like this. Put his hand twice, and so he got out this old broken rose and put it in Prabhupada's hand. And Prabhupada enfolded the rose in his two hands, and then he turned to my husband. Oh my God. Those were the days. Anyway, then Prabhupada just sent us many, many places. That was wonderful to have there. And we went to this quarters, it was up on the top, we'd go on the roof, and Prabhupada looked at all the big buildings around, and he said, one day, all these big buildings will be gone, but our books will never go. So that was really nice. And then Prabhupada said this to England, Bhaktivedanta Manor. So we were there for some particular service. We got there and Prabhupada was coming. We just were like, it was almost like he was following us, And we got there and they said, there's no place for your family. We have nothing to offer you. Everything is full except for the hay barn. So we stayed in the hay barn. She was just a little girl, 3 years old. We slept in the hay barn. It was very comfy, a little scratchy. Anyway.
It was perfect.
Oh, it's perfect. There you go. That was a nice adventure. Shortly after we moved out, it burned down. So that
The day after.
the day after, and it wasn't us. We didn't do it. I don't know what happened, but in any case, it burned down. So then we moved into the cottage, and we had to do some building services. And I got to dress the deities there. Oh my gosh. Oh, they're so beautiful, so wonderful. And Johnny Rodigan, who had always lived in Los Angeles and in New York City, suddenly discovered cows. So she found that there was a cow barn. And so she went into the cow barn and she was so fascinated. So after Mangalarti every day, I had to take her to the cows. And then she would go every day. She spent all day in the fields with the cows where they would graze. And there were all little apple trees there. And she would feed them apples all day long. So finally the temple president had to come and say, can you please ask her to stop? Because the cows are getting sick. They're getting diarrhea from eating too many apples. But she always loved the cows and still does, as you know, from school. Anyway, so from there, Prabhupada said, now I want you to go to Bombay. Well, I've never been to India. In those days, it was Bombay. And we went there. We arrived. The first day, the first thing, I shouldn't even say that one. Okay, I won't say that. All right. So we arrived at the temple. And then the first thing I saw there was somebody with a big tray of rice. And they were picking things out of the rice. I said, what are you doing? They said, oh, we're taking the worms and the little rocks out of the rice. I said, what? We don't have. Never mind, I'm good. I love Sun and I hardly ever get it. Thank you. Thank you, you're so sweet. Anyway, that was introduction to India. Wow, really? So then I got my first service. They gave me a big pot of milk and they said, we want you to make the burfi for the Mangalarti. I said, oh, that's so nice. But I thought, wow, so much burfi. That's going to be really good. I cooked it and cooked it and cooked it and cooked it and cooked it. It was like this much in the bottom. I said, I'm sorry I made so little burfi. They said, no, that's how much we make. I said, but there was so much milk. Well, they fill it all with water. You know, there's not much. You have to boil all the water off first. Then you get to make a little bit of burfi. Another thing. Then something else that nobody told me. Oh, something else nobody told me was you don't, in Canada, in the United States, you just drink the water that comes out of the tap. Nobody told me you don't do that in Bombay. So I got a royal case of amoebas, amoebic dysentery, amoebic liver. I was terribly sick and skinny like a stick for a long time. Anyway, that was something interesting.
Years to get rid of that. Sure, mine.
So then Prabhupada would come and we would go up to his quarters, which were in the back at that time. We would go up to his quarters and just sit there and listen to him under the stars in the night. It was so nice. It was so nice. And then they used to, because Prabhupada was getting a little, not so, I'm getting to that. I'll do that one now. I'm pointing at you.
Me.
Yeah.
Which one? There's so many in Bombay.
Oh, I thought you meant so many you. Oh, par.
Okay.
Okay. So we were coming out of the temple room one day, and Prabhupada was, he was getting on a little bit. And so in 1976 at this point, at the end of it, December 76. So they used to take a car to take him to his place where he was staying in the back, and then they take him up with a palanquin.
Old temple.
The old temple, yeah, it was the little old temple. Anyhow, we came out, my daughter and I were just there, we were all seeing Prabhupada into his car. And then he suddenly stopped before getting into the car. And he turned to Jada Radhika, who was 3 years old, and said, would you like to come and ride in my car? He looked like a little kid again. He used to do this kid thing. And she looked at me and I went, hey, go ahead. And so she went to, and the driver went to help her into the front seat. Prabhupada said, no, she can ride in the back with me. So she got to ride all the way back to the back of the temple, and he took her up and and gave her some sweet. Huh?
Yeah.
So he was there for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Every single day, we'd all go and see Prabhupada in his car. He would ignore everybody else. And every single day for 2 weeks, he would ask, would you like to come and ride in my car? Oh, incredible. Every single day she got to ride and he would give her a little something. Then Prabhupada was having trouble getting up the stairs. So my husband and some other devotee, my husband did it every day and other devotees would take the other end. They had a palanquin for him to sit in and they would carry him up the stairs. So Prabhupada, they, have it down, Prabhupada would get on, make sure he's all okay there safely, and then they take him up. My husband always carried the front, so his back was to Prabhupada. So he would come home every day and say to us, Prabhupada was so heavy today, I could hardly lift him. Thinking, wow, he was a really strong guy. That's strange. And Prabhupada was, not so big. And then another day he'd come back and he'd go, it was so light today. It's so interesting. And so we were always hearing every day for the 2 weeks that Prabhupada was lighter, he was heavy. It was very interesting. We never told anybody else, but anyway, it was interesting. And then the last day before Prabhupada left, last day he was leaving, my husband got him all settled on the palanquin, and he turned around and he went to lift it up and it came up like that and he thought, oh no, Prabhupada got off and I picked it up. So he turned around and there was Prabhupada sitting on the palanquin, grinning like a little kid again. Grinning like a kid. And he said, I think I am very light today. Prabhupada just knew everything, you know? That is my biggest realization with him. He just knew things. He knew what I was thinking when I was trying to get my beads from him. He knew, you know, my husband had been telling this for 2 weeks, not telling anyone else. Anyway, I think I'm very light today. Somehow I often saw him in this childlike mood, you know?
But you know, I made the realization that before it happened, Prophet really yelled at
Ah,
me when he was.
that's
my father
right.
Dad brought the spoon,
That's
with
right.
water, yeah, and he
Yes.
really laughed.
That's right.
And so,
So then he does something. Yes, he never just let things go and let you think, oh, I'm okay. He never just let things go. He would always like show his way of apologizing. Another example of that actually is the temple president. One time in Los Angeles, we were in a darshan with Prabhupada, and he was a little stuffy, and Prabhupada told one devotee, can you open the window? It was one of those pull up the window things in the way. And he tried to do it and it was stuck. Windows get stuck, you know, somebody painted it on or something, and it's together. So then Prabhupada said, get that, went to the temple president and he said, get that fixed today. Yes, Srila Prabhupada. So the next morning we were in darshan again, and Prabhupada said, pull that window up. Again, it was stuck, and Prabhupada turned to that devotee, the temple president. He said, I told you yesterday to get that fixed. Why didn't you? And he said, well, I told the temple commander. And the temple commander said, well, I told so-and-so, and I told so-and-so. And Prabhupada said, I told you.
right.
So it was up to your responsibility to follow it on down the line and make sure it actually happened. That's a good lesson to learn. You know, you can't just pass it off. Anyway, a little later in Bombay. Oh, well, okay, walking on the beach.
Okay.
Okay, we were right across the Bombay Temple, if you've been there. We were walking down, it's across the road from Juhu Beach. You go across and then Juhu Beach is just there. So we had both some little bits of rounds to finish or something. So we went for a little walk on the beach one evening, taking Jadarata. Well, as soon as we arrived at the beach, we were looking and there's nobody on the beach. We thought, how nice, we have the beach to ourselves tonight to finish our japa. So we were walking right where the water comes into the shore, started paddling our feet, chanting our japa. And suddenly a man stopped right in front of my husband and said, bus, stop, you know, stop. And kind of held his foot up and the man reached down to the sand and he pulled up this beautiful Gopal deity. Oh, yes, beautiful Gopal deity. He was like, he looked very old, but he was shiny and nice and everything, but he looked like he had been made a long time ago or appeared a long time ago or manifested or whatever. He was not your normal Gopal deity. He had little kind of wings on his shoulders and he had a beautiful braid down the back. He just was beautiful, so beautiful. And we went, oh gosh, Gopal. He handed him to my husband. He took it and we all just paid our obeisances. God has appeared. And we stood up and the man was gone. It's a big beach. He could not have gotten off that beach or gotten onto it without us seeing. I promise you. On my neck beads, as the kids say, you know, really. So anyway, then we had Gopal. So we brought him home and I fixed him up and we got him all polished up and cleaned up and everything. I put him in made a little bed in a little shoebox we had just brand new. And I thought, what are we going to do? He needs clothing. He needs, you know, something to sit on. He needs toys. Toys, you know. He needs all these things and crowns and everything. And we don't have any money. Nobody had money in those days. They paid your ticket to go somewhere and that was it. You didn't get paid for your services or anything. My gosh. Actually, years and years and years and years later, when I was serving in Bhaktivedanta Manor, as a principal, that was the first time I ever got a salary. You were in high school. Anyway, it was like that in the early days. Think about that, Tulsi, now. Anyway, so we thought, what are we gonna do? So my husband said, well, we have this little tiny bit left, you know. So he gave it to me and my daughter and I went downtown. The book train. Anyway, we went downtown. We found out where you go for the, yeah, we found out where you go to buy deity clothes. And we had this little bit of money, and so we tried our best. We found all kinds of things. We were just stopping till we dropped, but we only had that much money. So we got him a little seat to sit on and some clothing and a couple of toys, a little ball, a couple of other things, a crown. But it took all the money, and what I really wanted was one of those deity houses, you know, where they sit inside and it has a little drawer in the bottom. I really wanted one of those for him, but I couldn't. It was either that or the chair, or either that or the crowns, or what to do. I couldn't do it, so we came home without that. My husband was pleased with what we got. Pope Paul was pleased, and then I told him that I really wanted to get this little deity house, and we couldn't get it. Anyhow, what to do? So the next morning, my husband went down. He was helping to build the Bombay Temple, the new temple. So he went down to his office, the construction office, and on his desk, neck beads again, on his desk was one of these little deity houses. I promise you. It was just sitting on his desk, and he asked everybody, hey, who's this? He said, I guess Krishna comes with this paraphernalia. So shortly, another time we took the train into Bombay. I don't remember what for. Oh, I know what for. Yes, because somebody told us that the brand new book had come out, sixth canto, I think, or something. Sixth canto had come out, and there was only one. And we were sent down to get it, to pick it up and bring it back for Srila Prabhupada, who was coming. That's what it was. And we were on the train, and then we got in the wrong compartment, I guess, or something. We were in the ladies' compartment. We didn't know about trains or whatever. We got in the ladies' compartment, but we didn't have a ladies' compartment ticket. Anyone who's Indian know about these things, but we didn't. And so we were kicked off the train, and we didn't have any money for another ticket. We didn't know what to do. And the lady took the book. She said, I'll just take this book then. I went, no, you won't. That's Srila Prabhupada's book. She was taking the book, and the train was about to leave. And Jada Radhika, who was 3 years old, grabbed that book out of her hand, and we ran like hell. We jumped on the train, and we brought it home for Prabhupada. Good for you, you know? Had a lot of adventures. Anyhow. Okay, so then, do I still have, oh my God, timing. Okay, should I shut up? Wait, should I? One more.
One more.
Okay, so then Srila Prabhupada called us into his room. This was February 77. He called us into his room. And we thought, oh, that's so nice. But anyway, so then Srila Prabhupada said, I've just been given a large farm in Gujarat. And we thought, where's Gujarat? What do you think about Indian Bombay? We landed, that's all we know. He said, I want you to go to Gujarat and open a temple. We're kids, Prabhupada, you know? And we didn't say that, but that's what we thought. We're just young people. What do we know about opening a temple? In India. Yes, we don't even know where Gujarat is. Never even heard of it. Anyway, here's your train tickets. And we had an old harmonium, you know, a second set of clothes, and our train tickets. We had really nothing. And our Gopal deity, which was the most precious thing we had. So off we went on the train, off to some strange new location. And we stayed in Ahmedabad for a couple of days. And Yasamantinanda looked after us very nicely. And then he put us in a kind of like a Toto figure and sent us off to that place. It was out in the country, of course, a long ride there. And then we came to a village, and the Toto driver said, where are you going? And so I took Gopal out and held him up and I said, look, this is your new home. This is where you're going to be living. And all the people went, she's got Gopal, she's got Gopal. And we found out that all over India, in South India, they worship Ram, and here they worship Lord Chaitanya, and all over India, they worship, Vrindavan, Radha Krishna. In Gujarat, they worshiped Gopal. We didn't know that. Anyway, off we went. That's why Gopal came, I guess. So we landed there with the entire village following us. Much to our great surprise, it was 100 acres of a field with a tree in front of it, 2 trees actually tight together, that didn't even have leaves on them because the camels had eaten all the leaves off. So we were under the tree with our 3-year-old daughter.
Our house. Tree.
That's where we live, under the tree. It turned out to be the hottest time in India. We were just getting to that point while we were there. We were there for quite a while. And every morning we set up Gopal. We had Mangal Arati. We just did the morning, the whole kirtan, the whole day, So we had Mangal Arati, then we had, we read Bhagavatam, chant japa, read Bhagavatam. We chant first, and then we dress the deity, and then we have Guru Puja, and then we read the Bhagavatam. And some of the villagers started coming because they heard these crazy people living under a tree. They're doing something here. And then in the evening, we'd have, and many of them had to go to work, but in the evening, many would come. We'd do a whole Sundar Arati and Bhagavad Gita class. And one person in the entire village spoke English, so he would translate for everybody. He later became a Prabhupada disciple. Anyhow, so we were there. And we did that for a long time, and we had to plant something because we had to make money for the farm. We had to build a temple. So we somehow talked somebody into lending us their bullock. Again, what do we know about farming? And the plow. And so my husband would plow the fields and my daughter and I would walk behind dropping in. Oh, we got some corn seeds from somewhere. Interesting. So then and how to eat. We had to eat every day. So we would go into the town, which was a bit of a walk, and then we would sing and hold out our cloth, and people would put a few paisa in, or sometimes some rice or something. Every day we would go there. Every day we did a little harinam kirtan, and every day we would get something to eat. We'd come home and cook it up. Never. Oh, and sometimes nobody gave us anything, so we'd come home. And some old farmer or something had come and put some loki and potatoes in front of Gopal. There was never one day that we went hungry. Somehow or other, Prabhupada provided. Yeah. Never one day we went hungry. So that was very amazing. And then
And they had a heat wave at the time. When we
they had a heat wave. It was the hottest it has ever been for, 100 years or something. So what happened was,
52 shades.
yeah, 52 in the shade. And so what we would do was we'd sit in a line in the middle of the day in a little bit of shade from the trees. And as the shade would move, as the sun would move, the shade would move and we'd move with it. And until we could get out again. And then I said to my husband one day, over there, that looks like a bit of a cloud coming. He goes, no, we haven't had any clouds in all the time we've been here. It's a cloud to me. Anyway, okay, just do your service. Okay, we're doing our service. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's really a cloud there. Big cloud, lots of them, getting kind of black. Finally, it's like right over us. I said, Prabhu, I really think it's going to rain. It looked so close that you felt like if you went like that, you'd touch it. And he said, look, okay, we have no shelter whatsoever, but on the property, there's a little bit of looked like an old Johnny Cash movie or something. So I go way back. But anyhow, it was a little piece of wall still there, maybe about that tall.
The highest point.
That was the highest point, and then it would just lift up. And that was it. So he said, look, let's get Gopal and our daughter, and we really had nothing much else, and sit on the other side of the wall, because for the last month, in India, the wind was blowing like anything, isn't it? The wind blew like anything. It would blow so hard, you drink tons and tons of water, and you'd never pass all day because it just blew it out of you. Anyhow, so we thought, okay, that's fine. It's just going to blow past us. So we got all settled down there with our harmonium and our Gopal, and suddenly the wind, for the first time in a solid month, stopped dead. We looked up and the big cloud just opened up. It was like bathtubs of water pouring, pouring, pouring. It's our first monsoon. We never even heard of a monsoon. It just poured and poured and poured and poured. And I said to my husband, what should we do? He said, get out the harmonium. Let's chant Hare Krishna. What can you do, you know? We just sat all night playing the harmonium and our cartels and chant. Sorry, what?
I said, in the
Monsoon, pouring, pouring, pouring. But it didn't stop. It just rained and rained and rained, and our whole area just filled up with water. And then the road to get us to town where we would beg for food every day was filled up with water, but we still had to go. So my husband would take my daughter on his shoulder, and anyway, I somehow went through it. You know, we just walked through in our sari, dhoti, and whatever. And we got there, and the town was a little higher. And so we begged for food and we struck back through the water. Then there was the only rich man in the area who was out in the main highway. There was a big cornstarch factory, and most of the people in the village worked for him. So somebody told him there's these crazy Westerners living under a tree. And now it's pouring rain there. And so crazy sadhus, white sadhus. Anyway, he sent his foreman or something over on a tractor because that's the only way you could actually get to us. And he said, you know, what's going on? So we showed him Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and told him we need to build a temple here. This guy was very pious. He was a Jain. Anyway, he went away, and the next day the Jain came, the big man, R.B. Desai. And he was enthralled with Srila Prabhupada and the Bhagavad Gita and everything else. It was very nice. And the next day, tractors and tractors and tractors started coming. They brought us clothing because we were in rags at that point, literally rags. He gave us, he built, what he actually did, he built a kitchen. There was a big kitchen. Then there was a temple room. There was a room for us, and there was a go down, you know, place to store things. And he gave these big metal bins that you store food in. He gave one full of rice, one full of dal, one full of bajri flour, one full of sugar, and one full of, I think,
wheat.
Yeah, whole wheat flour. Yeah. And so, and big baskets full of vegetables and fruits, more food than we've seen in a long time. So we immediately invited all we started like a food for life there for the villagers. Every Sunday they would come and we'd feed them up, and every week he would give more and more and more. It was so incredible. And they all loved to come because Gopal was there. Gopal, yeah.
What years?
JR, what year? I don't have a head for numbers.
This was,
It'd be 76.
the 76, early 77.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I meant to say early 77, late 70s, early 77. It was February 77 when Prabhupada said was there, I think. Anyhow, then at some point, somebody called us and somebody came with a message and said Srila Prabhupada wants you to come to Vrindavan because he wants you to build a temple, build his rooms. You know, in Vrindavan, there's Prabhupada's rooms. Mayapur didn't have his own kind of house thing, you know. So he wanted that in Mayapur. And so he wanted my husband to do that, wanted us to come there. But when we did come, so we left everything, those two people stayed.
What did Prabhupada say when the letter? The resident?
I was just getting to that. It was when we came, actually. He said the residence should be finished before, you're right, it was in the letter. The residence should be finished before the resident. In other words, get busy. I'm leaving, I'm not doing well, and get busy and build this for me. So, and then when we got to Vrindavan to get his specific instructions, then he said no. He said there's trouble. He said us where there was trouble. There's trouble in Hyderabad. I want you to go there. So we went to Hyderabad. We went a lot of places. Prabhupada sent us to. We don't want to forget. Such of the big. There was Bhubaneswar, there was Bhadra. No, anyway,
Bangalore?
yeah, Bangalore. Prabhupada at one point sent us to Bangalore. It was Hansa Judas people there. They would not allow my daughter and I in the temple because we were girls. So so my husband went in there and I said, I need some service. Our lives are all about service. What can I do? So I was allowed to clean their bathrooms and wash their clothes. That was my service. But my daughter and I could not sleep there. So next door to the temple, there was a little Hanuman temple, but the door to it was right on the street, right at the street. So we used to sleep on the sidewalk, on the street. So people would, I guess, just step over us or something in front of the Hanuman temple. We were fine anyway. We were fine. We had so many experiences. Anyway, Hyderabad is a whole other story.
That's a whole. Different
We'll do that another time. There's many other places and many other stories, actually, somehow or other. But I hope this was all right. Thank you. I'm sorry we have to leave because of my granddaughter. Yeah.
Hyderabad story is on 22nd.
What do you say, John? He's organizing. Okay. All right. No, my granddaughter, she's on a very, very special diet. And we have to go. Oh, all right. Thank you very much, everybody. You're very good.
Thank you, Mataji, for that wonderful flashbacks. Your association with Prabhupada. I could see all of them so attentively listening to you. I was only engaged with so many other things. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's always nice to go over the memories.
And now we will have the cake cutting. My granddaughters are not here, but we will cut the cake and you'll all send your blessings to her. That's the main goal of celebrating this, her birthday now. So I just want your blessings to be sent to her. Thank you, them, because there are two of them. Thank you.
What are their names?
The elder one's name is Tanvi, Shri Tanvi. She's 7 years old. Shri Tanvi. Yeah. And the younger one is Shri Tara. Yeah, she's Shri Tara, and she's 2 years old. They're watching this live there.
So you can show their face to Allah.
Yes, Prabhu.
You can show their face to Allah. We can bless at least. If you show their face, we can bless.
Pictures in my mobile only. I thought of doing something like that, but with this examination,
Do video call.
time
You
constraint.
can do video call.
Yeah, we'll do one Hari Bol for her.
Yeah, if you do video call, you can send pictures in the WhatsApp.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get ready for the cake cutting.
It's like. Oh, it's mirrored. Here.
Amrita, kids program. Let them sing that song. What is Okay. Okay. Cake cutting will happen first and then the kids soon. All kids to come here.
You can manage.
Girls, you can-
We can just.
Can you open them all, please?
Huh?
Can you open them all?
Huh?
Can you open them all because I need to
Yeah,
pay?
it is.
Thank you. Wait, this is it?
Yeah, we have to undo the box like this.
They might not have.
You want somebody to lead children during
Yeah.
cake cutting?
Yeah.
Who can we use them like?
Who will think the birthday?
So you want small. So should I wait or? Yeah, just wait.
Show them.
It must be voting on the birthday song. Actually, you have to see.
Okay, all of you come stand around Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I need to keep it up, bro.
Did you take a close up?
Cake cutting and eating cake.
That's happy. Do I go?
Yeah.
Okay.
May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you.
Which program?
First things.
Tanvi ke Tanushree hai. What is your name?
Yeah. Live?
It's too quiet.
That's it. Yeah, please come for the cake.
I think it's there. But
Nothing
more.
I mean,
That's it.
I told my friend. अभी खींचो पहले बोलना
Next.
मैं बोला आप ही नहीं देख रही है जाओ अच्छा फोटो ले हाँ ले लो First time the sweet is offered before the meal. I think they do that in Gujarat. Yeah. They have like तो फिर भी आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है बहुत ताकि दिएगा ना आपको देखिए
It's over, bro. This thing is so hard to. I have never done this, like holding one. Yeah, never. One is a little bit slower though. Like a few minutes later. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
पहले बच्चों को दे देते टेबल है उनमें बच्चे हैं।
Come.
Oh my god. The tree is right.
ये लोग खड़े हैं तब से ये दो बच्चे हैं।
No, imagine not now. We're recording. Recording. Hey, take for me. We'll finish.
Next.
I can't see nothing. bro.
Second time. Wait. If
Not
everyone.
now, bro.
Master.
Split it down. No, I'm trying to get like some angles of different things. You know?
What is this thing?
Yeah, sure, temple.
Yeah, just leave it. Pune Mataji. Veda Mataji, Pune Mataji. Wait. Put it down.
I can't. Doesn't reach.
Fine. Okay, now second one.
I know.
Maybe you can cut even more small. Here Mataji is waiting for.
Will the lecture be uploaded anywhere? On what channel name? Because I would love to hear it again.
Yeah.
It's even like
Take through your mom's number to me, please. Thank you. I want the lecture. That's not a problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Did you get really well? Dedicated. Right. This is mine, right? Yeah. I forgot. What is that?
Oh, yeah. He's right now. He's like. If it was not live, it would cut and then replay. But it's going live, so we can't.
You can enjoy this.
My shy. Where's my shy? Okay, I think I need to go.
Look at here. Okay, no, look at here.
Yeah.
Now, the arrangements are being made for lunch. So please. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Also, just check if there's any messages from any of the messages that sometimes they say like, oh, it's not streaming or we don't have a link. There is a phone ringing in the middle of the thing. Oh, just let one. Yeah.
It will be exciting bulb for us.
Now, these two kids will be reciting Mukunda Ashtakam. Bala
Bal Mukunda Ashtakam.
Bala Mukunda Ashtakam.
Hare Krishna. Everyone pranam. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Who sent you message?
Sure.
Mukund means
Just some groups.
Mukund is the name of Krishna. And Ashtaka means 8 stanley, 8 shlokas. So today we are meditating upon that form of Krishna. Raravendena padavendam Mukaravendam Varam Mukundam Balam Mukundam Parami Balam Mukundam Balam Mukundam Indirakshamalangam Indradidevachidapadapalvam Santam Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami Ramala Kamalam Pitaharayasim Sringaralilang Itadanta Panktim Bimbadaram Letram Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami Shikhe Nidam Madhya Payodari Baler Gadaya Rajanaikaya Bodha Kapatam Medosoptam Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami Kalendra Jata Stita Kali पराणं वेदतनाप्रियन्तं तद्भुतं शरदिन्दुवक्त्रं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि बोलो हरे बालमुदारं उत्तङ्गयुग्मार्जुनभङ्गलीलम् उत्फुल्लचारुनेत्रं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि आरोग्यमादुर्भकमादरेण पिबन्तं तरति पूर्वाश्रम सचेतरूपं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि. Translation. I meditate on that infant Mukunda, Krishna, who is sleeping on the leaf of banyan tree with his lotus-like foot placed on his lotus-like mouth with his lotus-like hand.
I meditate on that infant Mukunda, who is sleeping holding all the world together on the leaf of banyan tree in such a form which has no beginning or no end. His advent is for the welfare of all mankind, and he is the Supreme Lord.
I meditate on that Bal Mukunda in my heart who has a delicate body like a blue lotus, whose foot is worshipped by all the gods and Indra, etc. He is the wish-fulfilling tree for those who take refuge in him.
I meditate on that Bal Mukunda in my heart, who has hanging curls and hanging necklaces, a beautiful row of teeth which are shown playfully. His lower lip is as red as a bimba fruit and has beautiful wide eyes.
I meditate on that Bal Mukunda in my heart who has pretended as if he was sleeping, eaten yogurt, his condiment from hanging pots of the gopis when they had gone out.
I meditate on Bal Mukunda, whose beautiful face resembles the autumn moon and is dancing happily on the foot of Sultan Kalia, holding its tail with his hand in the calendar.
I meditate on that I meditate on Bal Mukund with beautiful eyes like the petals of full dome bloomed lotus who with great valor broke the pair of tall Yamala Arjun trees, even though he was tied to a mortar, a large heavy stone bowl with pouring grain.
I meditate on Bal Mukunda, the Supreme Lord who is complete with eternity, knowledge, and unlimited form. Lotus-eyed one who casts his look at his mother's face with affection while drinking milk from her breast.
Hare Krishna.
What is Murli speaking on?
Now Murli will recite the 15th chapter from Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Read again. I thought we finished. I thought we were done. That's why I moved the camera. It's okay.
Shri Bhagavan Uttam Ashwatam Prau Avyayam Chandam Siyasya Karnani Yastam Veda Saveda Adasya Mulani Prasthadasya Shaka Puna Pravidya Vishya Pravana Adasya Mula मनुष्यलोके रूपमस्ये तदुपलभ्यते न तो न जाते न संप्रतिष्ठा असंगतस्त्रेण तदं पदं ताद्वैणं यस्मिन् गतानानिमितं विभूय तमेव चैति पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यथा प्रवृत्ति प्रसिद्धा पुराणे निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोष अध्यात्मनित्या विनिर्मितकामो तदेव चिमुक्ता सुखदुःखसन्ते गच्छन्ति मूढा पदमावेय तद्मातदभासते सूर्य नाशशङ्करपावक यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते राम परमं मम ममेव जीवलोके जीवभूता सनातना अनाशस्त्राणीन्द्रियाणि प्रकाशस्त्राणि कर्षति शरीरं युधं भवन्ति यच्चन्द्रोत्रमेश्वर यं दन्तानि संयान्ति वायुं गन्धानि वाशय सूर्यं चक्षुष्पाशनं च रसनं वा गुणवीतम विमूढानां पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा यतन्तो योगिनश्चेन पश्यन्तात्मनस्थितम् यतन्तो यकृतत्मानो नयनं पश्यन्ति चेतसा यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयते किलेन यच्चन्नभसि यच्चन तत्तेजो बुद्धिमामकं कामविषये भूतानि तारयन्मामोचत ब्रह्मविद्युत्ति सर्वं सोमं भूत्वारसात्मकम् अहं वैष्णवनरो भूत्वा प्राणिनामेहमाश्रिता प्राणपानसमायुक्त पञ्चं कृतं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य च विदसन्विदिष्टो मता स्मृतेतानि विद्वानां च वेदेषु सर्वेषु अव्यक्तविद्यु वेदान्तकृत्वेन विद्येत च स्वामिनो पुरुषो लोके सरश्च सर्व एव च सर्वाणि भूतानि बुद्धस्तोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमं श्रेष्ठं कर्मतमे उदारता यो लोकत्रयमयाविश्य विभिन्नादितर ईश्वर ईश्वरसरो विदितोऽहं सरादपि चोदत अथो लोके वेदे च कथितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवष्टसम्भूतो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वस्व भजन्ति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यचितशास्त्रम् इदं मुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्धिमश्य हितमित्यश्च भारत
That was a wonderful program, wonderful recitation by Murli and Nimai and Sai. Your performance was excellent. Thank you for your hard work for this program. Lunch. Now lunch will be served. I request all the devotees to take your chairs and take one table. The tables are laid there. So you can take your respective chairs and put it there and get ready for the lunch. The lunch will be served now. Okay, oh, sorry, I'm sorry, the tables, I'm sorry. The tables and chairs are for the seniors and those who cannot sit on the floor. The others who can sit on the floor, the mat will be spread here and you can sit on it. Thank you.
Oh, 6, 7.
What's
Wasn't recharged. 6, 7. I don't. What? I don't dream. I don't. Guys, thank you. That in the middle of that. Wait. Oh, this guy every time in drumming, like we're doing. Yeah. We have one special downstairs. Raja for downstairs. We have to learn special. We have to bring it.
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्रह्मणि वैष्णवे स्वल्पपुण्यवदं राजन् विश्वासो नैव जायते शरीरः विद्याजान् जयेन्द्रियता है का दिवे पेले विषय सागरे तारा मध्याजी भाति लोगो माय सुधर्मति ताके जेता कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ोदया माय पुरी बारे जिह्वा जाए तो प्रसाद नदी लो भाई श्री अन्नामृत पावो श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गुण गावो प्रेमी डाको चैतन्यताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री श्री जगन्नाथ सुब्रमण्य पंचतत्व राधा सखी दक्षिण संपत्त प्रदा श्री प्रभुपाद भगवत महाप्रसादन की प्लीज कैरी ऑन patience.
No, don't leave them alone. Be a better couple. इसको कहते हैं सही टाइम इसको कहते हैं सही टाइम हाँ बड़ा वाला
One guy. Like,
Something has like sharp edges.
What?
That box has sharp edges.
Okay, when showing them, no, you take this one and throw that one.
Yeah.
No. Where is your mom?
Sorry?
We used to say.
Yeah. Oh.
No, you know what you do anything wrong with what you get afraid of going to the That's cool and cute out. If there's extra ones, okay. You like some? Big more? The best out. मेरा भी खाना खा लो ठीक है चलिए फिर प्लेट बनाइए हाँ हमारे लिए प्लेट बनाना चाहिए ना तो बना दो यहाँ पे खाली है अभी नहीं अब लास्ट में
Hey, Sai, give one empty glass. Empty glass.
He does, yeah. And he does the astrologist doesn't have and the guy online. He's like the selecting Christmas articles. What is doing for and he picks up all Indians can't get it because it's difficult. So they get it, so they go and Paneer Baba. In that way, we just got the land and we have to write No, not yet. We're targeting for that now. We will come with the content, but not garbage. But now what we got it.
In charge,
It's working now.
That's what they want. I mean, we there and then Slovakia. Then Slovakia. The main thing is language. The language. Anything from rival? Yeah, they're and they have sounds and all. But I'm managed to deliver my today. Yeah, the doctor will not tell you.
You made it.
No, actually, forget about talking. Straight from there.
Another.
Yeah,
The main structure.
let's go. Let's go. Let's complete.
Yeah, March. கல்யாண மண்டபம் போகணும். அப்புறம் take out some people at the temple. I'm still ready. The place of the place. Don't break. Nama, what is that? Nama.
Wherever you like. So small.
You need. No, I don't need seed. Okay, at the end, give me liquid in the glass. Okay. I'm so specific. Yes, sir. No problem.
The whole
What's up behind you? You pull that.
no pitching, no diving.
Yeah. The first one is for now, for the Velladana college ground. Future because stress
Are you not saying like I'm honest?
I'm just kidding. Oh, we done the ring of 11 years.
What? What?
What's the name?
Like at home, what about what people like there's all the things like this and everything. At home, I just something, otherwise I had something. Can you peacefully like take it? It's not distracting. Yeah.
Temple open. Let me tell that is correct. I'm not understand. But oh, the land yeah, like computers and land free up there. It's a cloud. Glass. I want liquid. Building a done now.
I can check part of
Find the real farm. Like when I'm with the rice, dal is vegetable. Like temple there, but like actually, if you take Apama, they're educated devotees. We have an organic shop. The 40 varieties of traditional rice we are doing. When black rice and the red rice, bamboo rice, எல்லாமே இருக்கு. Also poha, எல்லாத்துலயுமே like black rice poha and red rice poha அந்த மாதிரி. So like main it's very good for health. We kept in our main vegetables. Yeah, Mataji. Not only from Scott, like other farmers all over Tamil Nadu. So நம்ம வந்து நிறைய இடத்துல இருந்து கேதர் பண்ணிட்டு நல்லா ரிசல்ட் இருக்கு. நிறைய ரைஸ் வெரைட்டி நான் மறந்துருக்கேன். Like there is some rice called very good for constipation. And Garden Samba, even Samba. Garden actually, Raktasali is from the that's very good for that is not found out. Also we are doing on the kanji powder மாதிரி வந்து ஏன்னா இப்ப எல்லாம் அதை வாஷ் கழுவி ஃப்ரை பண்ணி பவுடர் பண்ணி சாப்பிடுறதுக்கு இது ரோட் டைம் ஸோ ரைஸாவும் இருக்கு ஆல்சோ வி ஹேவ் பவுடர் ஜஸ்ட் அவங்க நிறைய பேர் கஞ்சியா எடுத்துக்கிறது பிளாக் ரைஸ் மெயினா அந்த கருப்பு கவுனி சுகர் டயபெட்டிக் இருக்கு வெயிட் லாஸ் பண்றதுக்கு ஸோ தே ப்ரிஃபர் ஸோ அதனால நிறைய பேர் அதை எடுத்துக்கிறாங்க அது நிறைய பேர் கஞ்சியா எடுத்துக்கிறாங்க ப்ரொவைடிங் அண்ட் பவுடர் நிறைய varieties have come. Like for example, the millet varieties today we have vermicelli, the சேமியா இருக்கு, also noodles இருக்கு, black rice இருக்கு. இப்ப அந்த நோ மைதா ஆட்டா black rice there's a pamphlet with என் நம்பர் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. ஆமா ஆமா down 66 108.
I don't have to. Like, you know,
Narayan.
and they want to try and I want to talk to them. You just go down and play it, and you have.
Actually, yeah, it's from
They don't
Hi, bro. Very good, thank you. Getting the only. It's exhausting, but something like. Really? Yes. You don't have to say. Why? Why? So funny. So look the same. I never had the same. What's the name? Yeah. Oh wow, you can understand. Amazing. Baby, I named my baby. Really. Okay, so I can practice on the gun, no connection whatsoever. There's another Nityananda Ramsiya now, but he is not some kind of oh, that's another one. Another one. This is the one that you're talking about, the kind of older Brahmachari, right? Okay. He's doing yeah. He has this narrative radio station. He's leading the these are the one. Are you right? That's the one. Yeah. That was a while back. That's more or less how long right now? 4.5 years. That was the initial target, right? It was fine. But then after that, you're free to do whatever you want. I was free to. You have to get really. What's the eye? Who knows? Maybe there'll be some other thing. You got the OCI. Finally, we're done with all of the all stuff. Yeah, this bureaucracy for getting Madrid. For us, it's also like it's not a big expenditure, you know, every year. So it's okay. You have to go every year.
I need to go because Natai ran away
Yeah.
and it's time to put him to bed. So
I'll do that. We only need
yeah, so I have to. You know what? I was in the house and Natai left the house and came here all by himself. No, I'm not. Because I told him wait for a minute. I went to the bathroom because came from here. We went home and we came back. So that is all. Okay, I'm going. That is there.
My coloring again. But you have to go for it every year. Well, what happens is because it's 4 of us, someone, you know. But now I'm lucky. I got 5 years. I'm good up to 5 years. Prior to that, I had also like 2. I had to end it every year online this year. But you know, like I had to finish the time and because you need to be here at the time. This year we went back like, for my daughter. The dog one. They were protecting. So, the last time that we had the research for all
What? Sorry, I didn't hear. Only I was like, it has to
bed, but then we went and then
left.
the flight was on Monday. So it was like
Looked at each other like, having
it was Friday.
something wrong.
Warsaw. This was the 5:10. 5:10 and then eventually, the lady actually led me inside. And then only 1 year. Yeah, the next year we extended it. And then someone else. Oversight computer. At least I find that the visa is like previously you have to have the time to design, this is like the departure. But you're free now.
Yeah,
Yeah. In the pandemic. That's why that's what I was trying. Next. So this both of you are yeah. But set up. Yeah. Yeah. Not mango chutney. I don't want it. Because we don't know the future, maybe we don't know. And then can study if he was paying to study. If I would be a single person, I would be here in Canada. And finally, yeah. You want to get that. Yeah. So, like when we left, usually you want to feel like it's family. But that's only for. I knew it was hard to bring it. To look there. So I knew.
every year.
Oh, really? Right.
I got it. Okay,
But it's okay. Okay.
Stop.
Let's do Forget everything. Forget yes,
I see the different side of
Maybe it's because of
the grandmother side.
Definitely. When I feel that I in my nature, yeah, like a lot of people are already talking up somebody. Mm. Rice, huh? Very nice.
No, it's for taste to him.
Yeah. But then, there's so many.
Your mom makes it.
So much we went to somebody.
No, no.
Yeah, we went.
Should I change this angle? Happening? I can see only the Jagannath Prasad. It shows only the Jagannath Prasad. You can see everything.
My home 20 years ago, like actually, I don't think we left again next 2019. 21. With the COVID thing, we were still 5 years and like mid-COVID. So my after COVID, I was kind of getting a little more back to basically.
So you have. Yeah.
A lot of but this year actually the first time almost also come to the politics in my a few years ago, very fast. Then we're making
Very support.
what is the feeling of the people around? I have to.
I played He's that is Amruta. పెరుగన్నంలో పెరుగన్నంలో ఇది పొట్నాలు పడేసుకుంటే అప్పుడు లాస్ట్ మంచి మంచి పెరుగు ఇప్పుడు పెరుగు కాదు
అప్పుడులే పెరుగు 12-13% పెరుగు వస్తుంది దాంట్లో ఏది సరిపోదు
Unless you have money to go into real family. That's very good. Being good people.
You like to try? Press to this one.
But it's much cheaper. Right.
How? Who's stronger, your father or you?
Yeah. Some special kind of
Like that?
situation needs to be there. While in the work, it's like the father and the job and then like
exactly by default I'm some 3%
Yeah.
maybe but that's it
that's it. That's what salary is.
yeah that's I don't know
And then I'm doing something.
still
Some of them, you can handle with your 2 hands. Then you have to 40-50. Yeah, you got to count. You know, between 20 and 30. That's why you have more time. Many people who are there full time and I think it's it's not right. Thank you.
in the world
It should be, was the- yeah, for the time. The point of the administration. You know, it's but it's you're not in
oh you're not any longer
even though it's
Rashad. Rashad. You guys just switch it off now?
because
দরজা খোলা আছে
the camera didn't her, they let her be the last. Tell her to tell her English. Yeah, I'll just put here.
You people are looking.
Yes, Haribol.
Huh?
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol.
Happy birthday.
My children are there. Happy birthday, Sri Tanvi and Sri Tara. Hope you enjoyed the program. I'll talk to you in the evening, okay? And we are going to switch off the live streaming now, okay?
Hare Krishna.